Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Catherine. Today I wanted to talk about book covers. I have been seeing some stuff in various publishing Facebook groups that I don't agree with. I've seen people saying you cannot make your own book covers. And can I tell you how much this drives me nuts? It always seems to come from designers who are charging like $800, $1,000 for a book cover. And you don't have to pay $800 or $1,000 or anything like that for a book cover. If you have Tangent Templates, and Tangent Templates is $59, and if you want a discount code, send me a message. I do have discount codes, so it can be even cheaper than $59. But for a one-off price of $59, Tangent Templates, you can make a really, really beautiful book cover. And I do actually recommend using Midjourney as well. So what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to show you some Midjourney covers that I've made. I'm also going to show you how our patterns work, because you can make some really, really awesome book covers with our patterns now, especially with the new group color changer. So I'm going to show you that as well. But I think with Midjourney and Tangent Templates, you can make stunning, stunning, stunning professional covers that will look amazing on any bookshelf. We have had a lot of successes in our group. We've talked to people like Sasha O'Hara, Jordan Colton, some really big names in publishing who have done very, very well with books made in Tangent Templates. So please, please, guys, don't let it put you off when people say, no, you can't make your own covers. You can absolutely make your own covers. Sasha O'Hara made $1 million. I know there's a lot of people in our groups working on the down low who have also done very well with their books. So please, please don't let the haters put you off. You can make some amazing book covers. So let's jump over to Midjourney. And what you'll see is I've been experimenting with different art styles. If you've been in our Facebook group recently, you'll see that I've been making these posts in the styles of different artists. And all the artists that I've been profiling in our Facebook group are in the public domain. So we've done William Blake, William Morris, Walter Crane, George Seurat, Jose Posada, Hibashi, Charles Rennie Mackintosh, Gustav Klimt, Sophie Taube-Arp, John Tenniel, who did the illustrations for Alice in Wonderland, Ernst Haeckel, and Russo as well. Russo's style is so pretty. So you can see I've been making all these various illustrations, just playing around with different artist styles. And if you want the prompt, just come and join the ChatGPT Midjourney group. It's on Facebook. It's a free group. And I've posted a lot of these, and they all have lots and lots of images and prompts. You can see there was like 60 images in this one by Charles Rennie Mackintosh. I know my Walter Crane one, there were over 70 images in that. So do come and join our group, and you will see all these posts with all the prompts. So what I was going to do is show you how I can turn these into book covers. All of my prompts here are actually very simple. I've done beautiful journal cover gel pen illustration in the style of whoever the artist is. So, I mean, look at this one. This is Charles Rennie Mackintosh. Absolutely beautiful image. If I want to use this as a book cover, first of all, I'm going to upscale it. And this takes a few moments. You're going to use subtle because you want to keep the picture as it is. And if you put creative, then it may change the image around. And one thing that's great with Midjourney now is they have this beautiful editor. So if there's something you don't like in the image, like, I don't know, this is actually a really nice image, so there's not a lot I don't like. But let's say if we didn't like this swirl, for example, you can actually just paint it out, resubmit, and it'll put something else there. It'll go ahead and generate that up at the top, and it will do something else with that area. You can see here, it's about halfway through, it's just working on that. There it is. So it's just changed the image and taken that swirl out and replaced it with her hair. So I actually prefer the original. I'm happy with that. This is my upscale picture, and generally this is enough to ensure you have a detailed enough picture to use on your book cover. If you want to go the extra mile, you can use Topaz Gigapixel, which is a paid tool, and that will upscale and add detail to your images. And so if you want to make really big images like a poster or a print, something really big, or maybe you want to put it on something like a tote bag or something large, then Topaz Gigapixel might be the way to do that. But generally with Midjourney now, the upscale built into Midjourney should be enough for most book covers, unless you're making a really huge book. I'm going to download this picture. Now, you'll notice these two tags in my Midjourney prompt. This is AR, is the aspect ratio. And in fact, let me show you the actual prompt here. Beautiful journal cover, gel pen illustration in the style of Charles Rennie Mackintosh. And then it says AR 3:4 and then V6.1. Now, let me tell you about these tags at the end of the prompt, these parameters. The AR is the aspect ratio, and the aspect ratio is the shape of the image. So 3:4 means that it is 3 units across and 4 units down. So notice I said units. It doesn't mean 3 inches by 4 inches. It just means that the proportions are 3 across and 4 down. So this means you could double it and it would work in a book that's 6 inches by 8 inches. You could triple it and it would work in a book that's 9 inches by 12 inches. So anything that has that proportion of 3:4 will work with this cover. And what I will say, because this is quite an abstract cover, you can actually fit it into most portrait sizes with a bit of cropping. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this image now. I'm going to download it there, and I'm going to go across into Tangent Templates. So we're going to go ahead and click Tangent Designer. And now we have this option to set up an interior, a paperback cover, or hardback cover. And we've actually just added a feature that will convert between a paperback cover and a hardback cover. So if you want to do both options, you can convert your cover very easily using that new tool. So we have added all of the trim sizes that KDP has as standard, both the paperback and the hardback. So this will calculate everything you need to make your book cover. So I'm going to go ahead and say paperback, and we're going to choose our trim size. Now, ideally, you want to know your trim size before you start creating your Midjourney images. So for example, if I wanted to make a book that was 7:10, I could actually go and run this prompt. So I'm going to say use the same prompt, and I'm going to change the aspect ratio to 7:10. So I can make the aspect ratio exactly the same as my trim size. So let's have a look. It's going to actually make this a different picture because I just used the prompt. I didn't use the image. I just copied the same prompt. Okay, that's pretty cool. See, these have created an image that has this exact aspect ratio. So the reason these are so different is because I've used a very vague prompt. I've just done beautiful journal cover, gel pen illustration in the style of Charles Rennie Mackintosh. So it's using a lot of creative license to decide what to create. If you want to make it look more like this, then you can use this as an image prompt, or you can describe the image and say lady looking sideways profile picture and get into a lot more detail. But I'm not really bothered about what kind of image I'm making. I'm just looking to make some pretty journal covers at the moment. But you know what? I really like this image. So we're going to use this upscaled image on our book. And even though the proportions may not quite match what I'm going to do, it'll be fine because I can just crop the image and fit it into the cover creator. So let's go ahead in Tangent Templates. I'm going to make sure we have a paperback cover, and I'm going to put it in, let's see, we're going to do 7:10. And I'm going to set my page count to 200, and my paper type is white. So you can actually choose to do cream paper, which will be cream and black, or you can choose color paper. My interior is just going to be black and white, so I'm going to leave it at white paper. So we'll hit begin, and Tangent Templates works its magic and sets up the margins, the spine, all of that for you. So this is a book cover that is perfectly formatted for KDP. It is a 7:10 trim size, and it has 200 pages. So it's important to be accurate with your pages because that's how the spine is calculated. To the people who said that you need a designer to format a book cover, Not true. This is a formatted book cover right here. So let's add our Midjourney image to it. So to do that, I'm just going to go to Uploads and Upload Images. And there's my image in the downloads. So here it is. And I'm going to add this to the page. Now here's something nice that Tangent Templates does. As long as this is green, then you know that the image that you're using is not going to be pixelated at all. Now it's going to go red because this image is a tiny bit smaller than we recommend, but in actual fact, it's going to look fine. It's not being stretched out that much. Now, if you're doubling the size or really stretching it out, you're going to have a problem, but this should be fine. See, it stretches up to there and then you get a warning. So a little bit more is really not going to cause you a problem. But it's really useful to know that Tangent Templates will give you this warning and you can see how much you've scaled it up. So there we go. There's a beautiful image on this side of the cover. But oh no, what will we do with the back of the cover? First, you can just make the back cover the same as one of the colors on here. And to do that, it's super easy. You just click back, select background, use the ink picker, and then you're just going to pick a color here. And I like to do this because I find by picking a color from the actual image, it all looks very cohesive, like it gels together really well. So you could do that. And then, great, okay, now we've got some text. I'll make text white so you can see it. And I do the same thing with the text as well. I'll usually go and pick a pale color from the image. And so that's one way you can make a book cover. It's all lorem ipsum there. You can go ahead and write what you need there. You also have the book title here. And again, you're going to want to pick a color for that. So you do have the book cover there. There's also some overlap. There we go. You want to move the cover being somewhere on this margin. It's going to be on the fold of the book. So it doesn't have to be super accurate because the fold is going to be somewhere along this line. That should look really good on your bookshelf. But what if you want to make a full double-sided cover with front and back, which is what I did in this example here. So you can see I've used a whole big picture here. Well, something interesting about this book is that this started exactly the same way as this one, with a portrait-sized front cover. But what I did is in Midjourney, I added to that. So now I have a back cover as well. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Let's go back to Midjourney, and here is my beautiful upscaled image. And I'm going to close that, and I'm actually going to go back to the original version of that image. So let me search for it. I'm just going to look for all my pictures in the style of Charles Rennie Mackintosh. There it is. This is my original picture before I upscaled it. And if you don't see all these options, and in particular, we're looking for pan, what you're going to do is click More Options and make sure that pan is selected. So if it's not there, it looks like this. You're just going to add pan in, so you have that in your selections. And now all you have to do is one click. You can just click pan, and what that is going to do is actually double the image and create a new image on the left hand side. So I'm panning left, and panning left means that we get to see what is on the other side of the image. So let's see what Midjourney has done. So there we go, 96% complete. It's almost done. Check it out. This is the other side of the image. So it's given me 4 options. If you don't like any of those options, that's fine. I really like that one. I'm going to upscale that one. But if you don't like any of those options, that's no biggie. You can just click rerun and it will give you another 4 options. So that is one way to create a full-size cover, just by using pan to create another side to the cover. So there we go. These have finished now. So let's have a look. Actually, I really like that one too. Those have finished as well now. So now you have 4 more options for your cover. So you can decide if you like one of these. I think I really like this one actually. So I'm going to upscale that one too. I'm going to click subtle. So there we go. That is now a full-size book cover. So we can download that in a moment and try that in our book. Great, this is finished upscaling. It does take about a minute or so to upscale an image, but there it is. This is a gorgeous upscaled image. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. So now we'll go into Tangent Templates again, and I'm going to delete this one, and I'm going to upload the new one that we just downloaded, which is the double-sided one. And you'll notice it doesn't fit perfectly because my aspect ratio was a little bit off in the first place. But as I say, this is quite an abstract image, so it's no biggie to just move that into place and have it just overlap a little bit. Now, what I'm going to do is click Arrange and do Send to Back so that we don't lose all our text and everything there. Now we can work on the rest of the design. So we're probably going to not want a subtitle, and we're going to want to move this text down here so it can be seen. That's still a bit hard to read. One important thing with Amazon KDP is that the title that appears in your listing must appear either on the front cover of your book or on the spine. And I will generally do both. If it's a journal, I might not even have a title on the front cover because you don't really need it. If it's a journal, you just want a pretty cover. So having your title on the spine might be enough. If you don't want to type vertically, you can just switch to type and type it there once you've got it selected. So we can put Peaceful Journal. So now let's set a book title. So I can put this across here, and we're not going to want it to be black because it's not going to show up at all. So I'm going to give this a color. I'm going to use my color picker, and I'm going to pick, in fact, let's try one of these yellows over here. So that's pretty cool. That shows up a lot better. We don't really want this font. It doesn't go very well. We could do something like that. We could have a script font. And of course, you can upload your own fonts. So you can go to Google Fonts. We have a link direct there to Google Fonts. So you can go and get any font that is on Google Fonts. I kind of like the Josephine slab. I'm going to change that to Peaceful Journal. And there's a few things we can do here. So I want to show you a trick that I did with this book cover here. So you'll see this font here that I used. This really stands out against the image behind. Now, the reason it does that is that I actually made a little panel here. I don't know if you can see this if you look very closely, but this is what the font looked like without that panel. And you can see it merges into the picture a little bit. So I made this panel and put it behind, and it just makes it stand out just a little bit more. And the panel actually uses opacity so you can see through it, but it just gives it a little color that makes this stand out. So I'll show you how I do that on this new one here. So what you do is, it's usually easiest with a box, but you can use any of our shapes actually. We have a whole bunch of shapes here. And for this one, I actually used this octagon. Is it an octagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I used that octagon shape. So it's very, very subtle. So I'm going to draw a box, and then I'm going to choose a color. So you can see the box is here. I'm going to fill the box, and I've got the choice of really doing a light color or a dark color. I'm going to pick a dark color because my text is light. So I'm going to look for a nice green on this image, something like that. And I'm going to drag this across the page all the way. And I'm going to put this over the text, a little bit bigger than the text. And then I'm going to click the Arrange tab and do Send Backwards. And what you want to do is put that box in between the text and the image. So I'm sending it backwards behind the text, but I don't want to send it all the way to the back because it will be hidden behind the picture. So I'll send it forward again. So there's 3 layers to this image. There's the background picture there. There's the text there, and then there's the box that's in between the image and the text. And what I'm going to do, make sure my box is selected there, and I'm going to go to Style, and now I'm going to mess with the opacity. So I'm bringing the opacity down, and you'll see what happens is that the box is getting more and more transparent as I bring it down. So now it's at 50%. I'm going to actually bring it down to 40%, I think, because I want this box to be barely visible. But if you notice, with the box there, the text really stands out. So if I take the box away, the text, if you look here, it's getting kind of lost. If I bring that box back down, now the text is very, very readable. So that's a trick I use with book covers. And then another thing I can do to make this text look a little bit more interesting is I can add a drop shadow to that. So that adds a shadow, makes it stand out a bit. I don't like the grey. You can choose a different color here, but what I recommend again is going back to your image. So I like that red. I'm going to use that. And now you have this really nice drop shadow. And another thing you can do with the drop shadow, I like to reduce the blur, so you can have a really blurry shadow that like makes it very cloudy and sort of smoky. I like to bring that blur right down so it's a bit sharper like that. And you can also move where the positioning of the drop shadow is there, so that brings it really down low. I like the default settings really, but you can see how that moves it around. You can move it in front of the letters, behind the letters, and so on. So I have it about there. And I think that that looks really, really nice. That's a really pretty journal cover. And then you probably will want to do the same thing with the book description. I would recommend putting a box. I'm actually just going to copy and paste this box. And I'm going to put it behind the book description to make that more readable. So let's see. That space there is for the barcode. So it's automatically added. So there we go. There's a book description. And you can see that's a bit more readable with that panel behind. And if you want to, I mean, with the panel, you can make this more solid on the back. It's really an aesthetic choice. So if you want to make it solid, you're going to set the opacity back to 100. It's actually a lot of text there, so I'm going to bring that down a bit and make the text a bit larger. And you can do that just by going to the Type tab and increasing the size slightly there. And another thing you can do is just bring the opacity down a little bit. So if we make it like 75%, it's slightly see-through, you see. So you can experiment with these different styles. And of course, you can change the color of that panel. If you want to have like a red panel or something like that, you can experiment with that. Or if you want a different green. I like the dark color. I think that looks really nice. I think you can make a really nice looking cover like this. With this other design, I did it exactly the same way. I just put the panel like that. So with this one, I made the opacity, let's see. I made the opacity 40%. I used black for the fill. And you'll notice that this one actually has a border as well. So I put a border around this with 1.75 thickness. I can turn that up a bit if I want it to stand out more. But I think that looks really beautiful. So that's another way to do your cover like that. So again, just as a reminder, on your book, you must have the title on either the spine or the front cover or both. So the title must be exactly as it is written in your listing for KDP. But you can use any font as long as it's readable. I'm going to use the same font on the spine and on the front. And I'm also going to change the book description so that that is in the same font as well. There we go. That looks really, really nice as a book cover. And you can do this with any of your images. So I'll show you the sun and moon one that I did. So that was the original image there. The prompt was gel pen illustration in the style of Walter Crane showing the sun and the moon. And this one as well. Those were some variations I was working on with this image here. Same prompt again, gel pen illustration in the style of Walter Crane. And you can see there was an error on this one. So I actually used the editor to clean that up. I selected all this part and I actually selected quite a lot so that it could correct it. And you'll see that I went through quite a few iterations and then I eventually found a version of that I was happy with. And you can see I experimented with a whole bunch of different versions of this one. There's actually another method for panning to the left and I'll show you that as well. So what you can do is click on your image. If you have this portrait image, you can go to the editor. Now this is an alternative to using pan. So I've shown you how to use pan. The other thing you can do is go to the editor. You'll see at the top that you have these aspect ratios. So I generated this image in 3:4. So the aspect ratio was 3:4. So what I'm going to do is actually go to 3:2. I'm going to resize this to 3:2. And if you can picture this, that's 3 across and 2 down. You'll understand when you see this. So this is switching from 3 to 4. This is 3 across, 4 down. This is switching to 3 across, 2 down. Do you see how the ratio changes? It's kind of trippy to get your head around it. But now my rectangle is 3 across and only 2 down. So it becomes a landscape image. And what I can do is just pull this across to there. And now we have this blank space to fill in. And this is where the editor might have a slight improvement. Because what we can do is say galaxy full of stars. So we can put what we want to prompt for on the other side of this. Now, Midjourney isn't always very obedient when it comes to this, so it may do its own thing, but we can hit submit and see what it comes up with. So I've given you 2 ways to expand your book image. You can use pan, or you can use the editor and then switch the aspect ratio up here. So you are a little bit limited with the aspect ratios this way, but it is another method, and the benefit of doing it this way is you can edit your prompt. So let's go up and see. Okay, I love that. That is gorgeous. It's very similar to this one here that I'm using. I don't know, I kind of like that one as well. So there's another option there. Or of course you can use any of these pictures here. I think that one's definitely my favorite there though. So if I wanted to use that one, again, all I would do is do upscale, subtle, download it and pull it into Tangent Templates. And as I say, if you want to go the extra mile, you can buy Topaz Gigapixel and upscale it, which will add more detail and make it even more beautiful. But this should be sufficient for KDP. So while we're making covers, I want to show you something else that's really cool. And this is particularly helpful if you're doing journals or medium content books. I think you'll really like this. So let's start a new cover page. So we'll hop in here. And what I want to show you is how the patterns work now with the group color changer, because this is super, super cool. So I'm going to go ahead and add a pattern to my cover. And you'll see we have tons and tons of patterns. So you can choose any pattern here. Let's see, where's a good one? I think I'm going to choose this one. So here's a pattern, and I'll make my text white there so you can see it. I'll get rid of the subtitle because I don't really need that. And I can get rid of the back cover text. We can always add that back in. And now what you can do is if you select the pattern actually can move around. But if you select the pattern and go to Group Color Changer, watch this. You can change the color. Let's see. Greens. And we can click Shift to go through the different greens. We can go, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? We can go to Amethyst and shift through the different purples in Amethyst. So you can choose different color schemes. Northern Lights. I think this might be my favorite. I love Northern Lights, the colors in that. How gorgeous is that? So I'm just like one click and you can come up with all these different colors just by clicking Shift. So you just choose a color theme and click Shift to go through it. And then when you've picked one you like, you just go Update. And if you're not happy with that, if you change your mind, you can go back to the Group Color Changer, or you can just click the pattern and you can choose whatever colors you want. So you can go in there. Oh, that's a bit bright. Maybe that. And you can also choose from all our palettes. So we have all our basic palettes on here. We've also added all the themes here. So if there's a theme that you want to experiment with, you can actually grab that here. So you can say, use this palette. So I've chosen Forest Floor. And we can actually change these colors. So select color 1. If we want to use Forest Floor, I can choose that color. And color 2, I could go ahead and use that green color or that one. Oh, I don't like that. There we go. Yeah, something like that. So let's try a different pattern. Let's do that one. So now we can go ahead and do the group changer again and experiment with that. So there you go. You can find all these different effects that you can do. And these aren't only for covers. You can actually use these to make interior pages like a filler page. And here's another example. So you can experiment with these different patterns and do different designs with them. And of course we have a monochrome option there as well. So if you're doing black and white books, that's fine. You could make a monochrome. All of these grays are supported by KDP. And here's a cool fact about Tangent Templates. And this is from Isaac's brain because he's all about precision. This color, this is white. The first one's white. But this color here is the lightest shade of grey that Amazon KDP can print safely. So you know if you use our colours here or the colours in the monochrome palette there, that these will print nicely at KDP. This is really, really useful if you're doing a black and white book and you want a cool pattern on the interior pages. You can just go through and pick a pattern and then pick a palette. I love saying this, pick a pattern, pick a palette, and add those to your interior pages as well. So one last thing I want to show you that's I think is really cool and is a new feature that we've added to Tangent Templates. So let's choose another pattern. I'm going to choose, let's see which is a nice one, this one here. So we choose this pattern. I'm going to pull that up there a bit and I'm going to put my book title down there. We'll get rid of all this. We don't need all that extra stuff there. And what I'm going to do is use the group color changer, and we actually have some new colors here. So I'm going to pick, let's do Vibrant Fiesta. That's a fun one. I'm going to shift through that until I find a combination I like. There we go. I love that. Let's see. Actually, that is really cool. So I used a pattern, I used Vibrant Fiesta and shifted it until I got that color. So now, there you go, you can see the colors there. And if you don't like any of them, you can change them out. Just click them and change them out. And now what I'm going to do is select this text, and we have a new feature, rainbow text. And this is what it does. So if we go to the Type tab, make sure your text is selected, go to the Type tab and click Rainbow Text. That turns it into a rainbow, but a rainbow doesn't match our color scheme here. But watch this. We can go to the group color changer. And now we can go down to Vibrant Fiesta, same color scheme, click that, and you can shift through the colors there. So they coordinate with that image. But I feel there's too many colors here, so I'm just going to click Fill and change them all to be that pink color. So you can select it like that. And I think that looks stunning. And what you might want to do is actually make the background. So the background, I'm going to choose from the same palette again. So you can choose it from here, you can choose it from there. You can also just click background and then click that and it will change it to be that color. Or you can make it the yellow color. So it all coordinates just using these same colors all the way through. I think this is a really awesome way to create book covers. So I can call this like Catherine's book. And I'm going to select the text and make this, let's see, we'll make it 30 point. And I'm going to change the font as well. There we go. Architect's Daughter. We can make that a little bit bigger. And of course, I can go ahead and add drop shadow and all the other features to that. And I think this looks absolutely awesome. So I hope you have a great time using the cover creator to make your own designs. Again, you can use the patterns on the interiors of your books as well. So you can use this on the interior as well as the cover. But I hope now you feel really good creating covers. I will say that Midjourney makes it super, super easy. If you're creating a novel, for example, I can show you that I made, if I just look up romance, I've done gothic romance book covers, and seriously, you don't need to be an expert in prompting to get some really gorgeous pictures out of Midjourney. See, all I put was gothic romance book cover, AR34, and look, you get something like that. It's pretty stunning. And of course, you can run the editor if you think that bird looks a bit wonky or you're not sure about her arm. You can easily just go to the editor and fix those details and it will correct them for you. So you just do that, change them up. I've also done like urban romance book covers. I mean, you get some really, really gorgeous pictures with this that absolutely, I don't think anyone would look at this and say, this is an AI picture, I hate it. Ugh. Stunning picture. I mean, even look at his hand. Here was an image I was working on in the style of William Blake. And he was another public domain artist that I've been profiling in our group as well. And one thing I will say about the public domain is that public domain exists to keep all these amazing artists like William Blake, like Charles Rennie Mackintosh, all these amazing artists to keep them in the public eye. So I think it's kind of amazing that we have Midjourney, that we can keep exploring these styles of these amazing artists. So I hope you have a lot of fun with this. I hope this was helpful to you. If you're enjoying the videos, please do remember to click like, subscribe, all of those things, ring the bell so you get notified when I make new videos. All right, have a great week, guys. Bye.